Hi, Paul Gorney with Luxury Living in Chicago. We're going to take a look at if you want to buy a home in Chicago. If you're planning on moving to Chicago, looking to buy a home in Chicago, this is what you need to know. Chicago is a big place. We're going to take a look at a map, and I'm going to show you the nitty-gritty of the heart of the city and how things branch out from there so you understand commute times, values, different neighborhoods where you live, and what really is downtown Chicago. So take a look, call, text, email. If you have any questions at all, people are reaching out all the time. Happy to help. I've helped over a couple thousand people here over the last 30 years with all these types of things, moving, values, everything you need to know about the city. So reach out if you need it. So looking at Chicago, I'm going to show you a map right here so you can understand what the city looks like. Here's downtown Chicago, and if you zoom in, you can really see the lake, and you can see Navy Pier right here sticking out into the lake, and then there's a lot of condo buildings right along the shore of the lake there, and some of them were built in the 60s, 70s, some of them were built in the last 5 years, so drastic difference in price per square foot. So this is a big deal. Got to look at the buildings, their financials, the older ones. They need concrete work. What do they need? The new ones are phenomenally high in price. So what's the resale going to be like? Are you okay losing a little money or not? You really need to be realistic about some of these things. So be aware. If we zoom out from there, you can take a look just north of downtown to an area called Lincoln Park, which is a neighborhood. It's not really part of downtown per se, but it's very close to downtown. So very historic homes, many new homes, $3 to $5 million, and then some of the highest sales in the city are in Lincoln Park, usually around $12 million or up. Beautiful streets, big homes, very kind of exclusive feel, and some of the top ranked schools by niche.com in the city are very close or in Lincoln Park. So be aware of that. But I will say Lincoln Park is pretty awesome to go out to eat in and go to the parks, go running along the lakefront. As you can see, the lakefront's beautiful, and there are great running trails, biking trails, and you can just pop into Lincoln Park right from there. But going back to downtown, going a little bit south of downtown, you can see that the lake's beautiful, of course. You can get into Soldier Field and kind of the South Loop, which is just south of downtown. Recently developed over the last 20 years, many beautiful new high rises. However, the prices are not quite the same there. They're fairly solid, but meaning high. But they're not quite the same as other parts of the city. You get a little better value for your money, and some of the views are just crazy. Because there's really, these are new buildings, so there's really nothing that's been built around there. So, as much as the more traditional historic areas. So you get some really kind of killer views of the lakefront, of Soldier Field. It's pretty darn nice. But if you're getting into more like, hey, we want to be in a neighborhood, we don't want to spend a gazillion dollars in Lincoln Park, we want to be in a nice neighborhood, it's highly ranked with good schools. You move away from the lake here, and you can see we get more into neighborhoods like the West Loop and West Town, things like this. So you can really see, there's West Town there, and you can see it's right by the expressway. You go a little bit further here, and you're going to be in the West Loop, which is close to where the Bulls play at the United Center. So these are really close to the expressway. You can pop on, go to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You can go south to Indiana. You can get to a summer home, whatever you like. And you can see they're not that far from the lake. Pretty darn close. You can run or bike, but it's just not as immediate, just not quite as immediate. So the values are strong, partially because Oprah had her studio there. everything is just insane as far as the value of commercial properties. They've taken small warehouses, built office towers. I mean, the development's just crazy. So McDonald's rents. They're a very valuable tenant to a beautiful building right on Oprah, where Oprah's studio was. And I think it just sold for about $180 million because McDonald's is the tenant. There's a building that I just helped a client buy maybe 3 years ago for $3.7 million. It's worth about $5.5 million now. The values are just skyrocketing. So with that goes the retail, and then all the residential developments. There's some beautiful ones that have been built there. So that's the West Loop. If you go further north in the city, away from downtown, you'll start to see, some interesting neighborhoods like Bucktown, again, really close to the expressway. Can pop on, get downtown from there. And then you keep going and you get into all kinds of neighborhoods like Logan Square. You eventually make your way up to North Center, Ravenswood. You kind of get the idea. You're moving away from downtown, okay? And you're getting closer to the suburbs. Neighborhood I grew up in, Rogers Park, incredible access to the lake, some great beaches, Loyola University. And then from there, you get up to the suburbs. You get up to Evanston, where Northwestern University is, and then you just work your way up, and the lake just looks so nice. The other way you could go is west, away from the lake. Glenview, Arlington Heights. You start to get out there a bit. You start to get into like 30, 40-minute drive. And, there's some options that are very favorable. But then, there are areas that will be expensive, So you have Hinsdale, which is a very expensive area, one of the higher priced areas around. Western Springs, Clarendon Hills. These areas all have very highly ranked schools in this.com, highly ranked areas also to live, to raise a family, many of them, and Patch, niche.com, highly ranked. These are nice places, and you jump right on the expressway, and you just go downtown, You can get right downtown Chicago, or you can take the train. So you really need to look at what kind of place you want to live in, what do you want to spend. I mean, obviously a huge factor, right? So I can give you an idea of like what, is it realistic? Do you want an older home, newer home? Just had someone come to me coming from Florida, and they want a new home, and they will be okay driving 40 to 50 minutes to get that new home. And the price point is much lower than new homes close to the lake, and they're okay with that. So that's what we're going to find. We're going to find them a new home, and it's going to be further away because that's how the prices work typically. And they don't want to live in a condominium closer to the lake. They want a new home. So, that's kind of the way you go, away from the lake, and you start hitting the train predominantly to go downtown for work. So keep these things in mind. Chicago just has a lot of options. The other thing that you have is schools. Obviously, the city's a little bit trickier than the suburbs. Suburbs are just usually easy breezy. You get in, you know what you're getting. City has lotteries and all kinds of things like that, which is, you can navigate it, but it's just a little more complicated typically. So one other thing is when you're buying now, the inspection is a huge factor because sellers are not giving much, with the inspections, even if things are wrong. So whatever your price point is, you got to calculate going, about 70% of the time right now, going above the asking price, and then taking care of, $2, $5, $7, $8,000 in inspection items because you usually won't get them from the sellers right now. So things to keep in mind, but just did get 20 grand off a house today. Got the contract signed, so not everything is selling for full price. But just reach out, call, text, email. You need anything at all, help you navigate things and answer any questions.